this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Everything in bloom on the 8th today. I'm going to go round the other way. We always seem to start on my left and work my way round. Well, let's start on my right for a change. No other reason than for a change. Right, we've still got a reasonable amount in bloom, quite honestly. I'm still quite pleased. The Dendrobium, I've forgotten which one it is now, Infundibulum I think. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, well, I'll be putting pop-ups anyway for the blooms, always do. So the two blooms that originally came out have now gone, they've gone over, and this one which came out quite a bit later is still with us and will be for some time. So this is highly likely to still be there in next month's Everything in Bloom on the 8th. They last an awful long time. Very attractive, gorgeous deep colour in the centre, veining, and the tessellations on the petals and the lip, well, and sepals as well, really, just make, you can see through them. So they're like sort of rice paper, tissue paper, something like that. And then the Masdevallia I got from Mick's Masdevallias. The bloom on that's still going strong. What I'm going to do is see if I move the bloom from side to side, you might catch the purple sheen somewhere on the camera. It's very difficult to film because it's actually a mass of tiny little purple hairs on top of the orange. So it's very difficult to capture. Anyway, nice plant, doing good, new growth's coming, so looking good. This Dendrobium coriniferum, I think it is, this is now, effectively that's over. These blooms need to come off and put the energy into the new growth. So they've lasted incredibly well. Well pleased with those, well pleased. The Kaneko up here in the roof. More buds coming in places, so it's you know, even when these blooms are over, it's still got more to come. And now that it's in bloom at this time of year, it will probably have some blooms on it, sort of right through the summer period. Lovely colours, just a nice splash of purple. It's a cross between Victoria Regina and Goldschmidtianum, I think, is the other one. Not one I've got anyway, but you can see the look about it. Anyway, it grows well, does well up there in the roof, up in the gods. The Pabstia, looking good. I mean, if I get the camera down, because the trouble is to get a close focus on this, I need two hands basically. Get this camera to focus. I'll have to lower down here. But blooms on that are stunning and very unusual to get. Well, petals and lip of a similar pattern is not unusual, but sepals completely plain following on from patterns like that is unusual. So it makes for a lovely contrast. So yeah, pleased with that. That's doing well. Plant's doing okay too. Growing roots everywhere, which is what we want. What is this? Odontocitium, I think, probably. Irish mist. Unfortunately, that's probably a trade name. Anyway, I don't think these blooms are going to last much longer. That one's already on its way out, so I'm not sure. This one's definitely on its way out. Buttonhole, anyone? So this is going soon. These will be gone, and I'm not sure whether the plant will follow them because there's no roots on it and it's got no sign of new growths. But hopefully, if I can get the, in fact, I'll probably take this spike off. If it can generate a new growth and then get some roots, that'll be fine. But the latest growth, the one that's in bloom, a slug took all the roots off. So it did have some, but not for long. And then we've got this Encyclia lancifolia with its upside down octopus type blooms, shuttlecock blooms. They've got lots of nicknames, but again, very, very attractive and fragrant too. So Got a lot going for them, these have. Very attractive blooms. Despite being upside down, basically. But it means that the lip forms a hood. You know, there's different ways of doing things. So I think that's everything over this side. Make sure I don't miss anything. Radiator's not open yet. Lots of Miltonia spikes pushing on, but nowhere near opening yet. They are to come. Right, so we're back round to the Tolumnia again. Mucha dot, variable blooms, but if you sort of start here and look at, well, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one, then that's an odd one. Yeah, if you just look at the density of the dots. It's called mucha dot, and that one's hardly got any in comparison, and they're bigger. Now that is a bloom. Oh no, it's not. I was going to say that's off of a branch, but it's not. It's no different to any of the others. But lovely subtle tinges of pink on this. I'm well pleased with this. You know, I'm not sure. I've got a feeling that's one of the ones that was in the Schwerter order that I didn't order myself. I can't remember. But either way, it's turned out to be a beauty, and these are good sized blooms for Tolumnias. So well pleased with that one. Down in here, failing to be represented by this camera, is Victoria Regina. If ever I get a camera that I can just point at this and get the right colour, I'll be over the moon. But even though on my screen, while I'm looking at this now, the colour is correct. So while I'm filming it, the colour looks fine. But once I get this off onto the computer, it's not going to render that colour properly. But nonetheless, we've got them. You know, I've spent years trying to get a decent plant of this, and now I've got one, and I'll see these blooms every now and again, as and when they occur. Right, coming on round here. The Hercoglossom still has blooms, but it's not going to have them much longer. It's on its last flush now. You can see that, you know, yeah, some are going, but nonetheless, you know, there's actually still a reasonable number there. This is its last flush, though. This is its last little go. No more buds to come now. But it's still one of my favourites. It's just very, very attractive blooms. Especially in a mass, you know, when you get a bunch of them, a cluster. So that's that one. And then we can't go past the Miltoniopsis without, that's just a no ID hybrid. Miltoniopsis, and this one is growing incredibly well. So I've finally got one that's got a decent root system, a number of new growths, pushing out even more roots, and it's pushed up a nice spike. So I've got one to grow well, and others are hanging on, just in some cases. One I think I've lost, but we'll go over that another time. Very fragrant, this one. You know, depending on the light and how the circulating fans are on, this fragrance can fill this room. You know, and it's got no competition at the moment. There's very little else that you could say is very fragrant. Up here, the Friedrichianum is starting to go. You know, there's a few blooms dropping each day, but it did open staggered. You know, so there are some blooms haven't been open anywhere near as long as others, but there are some on their way out in places. But yeah, I mean, the colour on this is just really nice. So I've started it rocking now. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop it. I think something like that. So I just wanted to get a close focus on one so that we can see the colour in the lip. Very, very. It gets lighter as time goes on. When these first open, that is a deep shade of green, that sort of central veining in the blooms, and then as they age, it turns more yellowish with green veining, if you see what I mean, rather than a green coloured area. But yeah, it's got nice sort of wavy petals. Frilly edge to the lip, nice daffodil yellow, and produces a good number of blooms per spike and a good number of sort of spikes per cane. And you get most of the blooms come on the leafless canes, but you do get blooms on leaved canes as well. Yeah, but the leaves are going to drop on that cane very soon anyway. So that's that one. And then this is still with us, the Latoria. It's going slowly but surely. The blooms are fading, but this little group here haven't been opened long, so they're gonna be with us some considerable time, I would say. It's Examium crossed with Rhodostictum, and it's got the Rhodostictum shape to it, definitely. I'll just see if I can come at one of these from the side and do a close focus. You might be able to sort of see inside the lip. The colouring is gorgeous. So anyway, that's that one. And then last but not least, he says scanning round, because I always seem to manage to miss something. I don't think we've missed anything this time. No. Right, so last but not least, recently opened, is this one, which is, it's got a long, I'll do pop-ups. I keep trying to read stuff out. Now this one is incredibly delicate. I'll have to get the camera up in the air to get this one. Blooms on this are really attractive. And again, it's another one of those where the lip and the petals have got one set of patterns, and then the sepals have got a different, well, the sepals are basically striped, and then the petals and the lip have got incredibly delicate. If you look at those petals, you've got the rows of spots, and then you've got what looks like a purple patch around the edge. But if you look at it really closely, it's actually veining. It's very, very attractive blooms. Well pleased with that. That snuck up on me. The blooms opened up in that far corner up there. I hadn't noticed them, but we've noticed them now. Right, so there we go. That's it for today. Everything in bloom. We've got a reasonable amount to come. I won't say lots, but there is stuff to come. We're having a flush of Nobly blooms. 2 Noblys are going to bloom soon, and the Miltonias are pushing up spikes. 3 or 4 different Miltonias are going to bloom in the not too distant future, so that'll be good. And well, who knows what else might pop up. We shall see. I'd like to see some more zygote blooms, quite honestly, but let's get some plants growing well first before we worry about blooms. I don't know which ones are going to bloom next, or which one. We shall see, but I would like to get that. And there, as I say, there are some buds. There's another Cattleya with a bud on. There's another Encyclia to open its blooms, and there's quite soon actually, because those buds are swelling up. So there's a few things around still to come, and we'll go from there. There's a bit of a hassle with Fluffy Mojo. Mojo as in a.k.a. Fluffy Cat. Therein lies the problem. This year his fur has got incredibly matted, and it's gone beyond what I can brush out. It's just gone really, really lumpy. He went like that about 5 years ago, and I took him up the vet's because he had a little sore on the back of his neck, and the vet said, well, first thing is he needs a tooth out and he needs his teeth cleaned. Those don't look like they've ever been done. They love spending our money, don't they, the old vets? And he had to be shaved basically because his fur had got in such a state. I mean, it's not his fault. His mum died. The 2 brothers' mum died when they were very young, and they had to be hand reared. So certain skills that are passed on from mum didn't happen. And with Fluffy Cat, he never learnt to groom himself properly, so he doesn't. You know, he washes round his rear end, he does his back legs, he does his front legs, and washes his face. And then you can see the look on his face. He sort of thinks, oh, that'd do. So he's always been a scruffy cat, but it's got really, really bad again. So he's up the vets at the moment, having a shave, having all his fur taken off. He'll come back with a fluffy head, fluffy tail and fluffy paws, and all the rest will be virtually down to skin. And he will look very, very silly for some considerable time. But it's summertime, it's not like he's going to get cold, and his fur will grow lovely and shiny and soft and silky again when it grows. And last time he had it done, it lasted 3 or 4 years before he even started getting a few sort of lumpy bits. But I was worried he'll have to be sedated to have it done, but he hasn't got to have a full anaesthetic. He'll just get, the vet said, we'll just chill him out a bit, whatever that means. But anyway, so I've got to go and collect him later on today. Hopefully everything will be okay. And yeah, try carrying on brushing him and everything like that, but his fur eventually just goes beyond what a brush can sort out, you know, despite doing it very frequently. So yes, we shall have a very it's called a lion cut. Basically it's short fur all over, but fluffy round the head, tail, and well, in his case his legs as well. So hopefully he'll be okay, but he certainly doesn't like going in the carry case and going to the vets. He yowled all the flipping way there, which, because it's summertime, everybody drives around with their windows open, and when you stop in traffic, wow, wow, everybody looks at you. You just sort of stare ahead as though nothing's wrong. It's not me, it's not my cat. But yeah, he has made quite a bit of a fuss. So, anyway, hopefully he can come back later. The hardest bit was that the vet said he can't have any food from 10 o'clock last night. Well, that's all very well and good, because he's going up the vet's. But I got 2 cats. So neither of them had any food. You know, they had their supper last night before I went to bed, and I had to put their dishes away. So, because I can't leave food, you know, if I leave food for one, the other one can eat it. So they both had to go without breakfast today. And Elvis had his breakfast the instant Mojo was in his crate ready for transport. So I hate to think how much this is going to cost me, but it'll make him happier, because he's starting to bite at his fur and trying to pull the lumps out himself and everything. And he's uncomfortable, obviously, so it'll make him feel an awful lot better. You know, so don't see why he should be uncomfortable and not right in his old age. You know, so hopefully a day or two and he'll forget that he ever went up the vet's, and hopefully he'll never have to go again. But we shall see. Anyway, everything in bloom on the 8th, and see you next time.